I wanted to do a quick video this morning of some of the more challenging parts that we had to mold. So here's the pin holder. And so in claying up, we had these metal pins sticking in it, and we were clayed up as our center line there. And so when this gets molded, basically we take out these placeholders, place them back into our mold at the depth that we wanted, and then we were able to cast that. And then when we pull it apart, again, we were able to just pull those pins out. You want to make sure that you do have a clean end and then an end that you're going to take pliers to and pull. So you'll always mark up that bad end. Take your wax or Vaseline, make sure you get a mold release on there. That way those are easier to pull out. So that is a way of creating voids in your final casting. Another one here was a small little bumper. So on the other end of this was a screw thread with a knob, and it engaged up against a window to keep it from sliding. And the original piece was dry rotted, did not work. And so for this one, kind of had to think about it coming out of the mold and what needed to happen. So I had to make a model of what the final result looked like. So that was this piece. And so that emulates this with the plug. We have to put a plug inside the mold when we cast. And then when we pour that, this piece comes off of it. And so, but to create that initially, we had to create the end result in a solid model. So that went into the bottom of a cup, was taped in. We poured in our silicone there. And then made a secondary plug that was always the one that we would come into our model with, like that. Okay. Another one is a flexible little foot pump. The challenge here was it needed an undercut. And so this piece would get trapped in the mold. So the concern there was even though the silicone is soft, it's going to tear over time, and we may mess up the mold. So what I did there was created a plug on the back side of our mold. And so when you demold this, our final part would be there, and that gave us some room to kind of come in and manipulate this so that we could safely pull our little foot pump out. This material was nice. You could change the durometer. Durometer is how soft the material is. So some of these, as I was playing with them, were more likely to tear because they were a little bit harder durometer. And then once I found the right one, they work quite well. The last one is creating a 3-part mold instead of a 2-part. So the little shark here, this is cast in concrete, so you can't pour concrete through a small funnel. You have to have an open face for the most part. And so we started with a 3D print. The box was built around this. And so the first thing I wanted to do was be able to pull a plug this way off the nose. And then obvious part would be this way. So side A, side B. But having all this material in there, we couldn't really figure out how to pull that safely. So we created a third pull that came this way. And so that was the first thing that got filled. We clayed up around the perimeter inside the box, poured this part. And then once that was done, clayed up the natural center line here, poured side 2, and then removed and poured side 3. This gave us a little safer way of kind of coming in, and did the same piece there, put a void in the mold so that it would be a little bit softer for us trying to pull away from those teeth. Now concrete, you know, it's not as fluid. So when this box went back together, essentially that was our casting cavity that we would pour the concrete in. So those teeth were not going to cast that way. So what happened, the teeth were packed in with concrete to begin with. The mold was reassembled, put together, and then the second pour was done quickly after so that it would come out. All right. So just some examples of having to, get around some challenges there.